Please be seated. As Stephen said, Diocesan Convention was held here yesterday among these beautiful stones and gifts of ours, and our bishop named the work of our diocese for the coming year: formation, planting, by which he meant church planting, growth, stabilization, and witness, under the framework of Anglican renewal, which he said apparently there isn't a large section in the library on Anglican renewal. And I believe that's because Mr. Wesley was among the last of the great writers about Anglican renewal. Renewal, not death and resurrection, the bishop said, not giving in to death or decline, waiting passively for God to reinvigorate us, but rather assuming that we, you and I, will do the work of renewal in our generation. The renewal of our hearts, our minds, the Bible tells us, available for those who choose to follow Jesus. Like the diocese, we are also in a time of renewal, and as people all the time, of course. But like the diocese, because we are the cathedral of the diocese. So I've been thinking about how we frame what our tasks are, and not that different from the diocese, but anchored here and about this campus and this place. Our tasks are similar, I think. They are to inspire the imagination, to testify, to bear witness, maybe our most important task, to serve, and to build. Inspiration is the Spirit's gift, the gift of life-giving breath, we say. Maybe you have experienced it concretely in this place, as the intake of breath, the gasp of holiness that you experience here. Imagination is clearly our work. It is sparked by an exhibit or a concert, music in liturgy, a wise word of truth-telling, a turn of a phrase in a prayer or the liturgies themselves, a connecting, an ever-broadening of your gospel imagination, forming us and our communities, here to bear witness to God's unrelenting love for each and every one, for all. And witness, the thing Jesus commands us to do, may be our overarching work. Everything we do should bear witness to what we believe. Whether we intend to or not, it does, so let's be intentional about it. And to serve the seeker, the lost, the lonely, the hungry, and the vulnerable, which you did for the first 2 weeks of this month, without the vanities of building the perfect program, keeping enough people out to feel self-righteous about our giving, but rather receiving and giving away easily is what we did, what you did. Like the love of God, who does not seek your ID or your worthy need, but sees only your need. And God recognizes God's self and meets you easily. We too here get to open our eyes and see our neighbor as a neighbor. As one young woman in line said last week, I'm here with my ID, but I don't have an ID for my baby, for my 18-month-old baby. What is baby ID, I wondered, and you might be wondering as well. Some legitimizing of the statehood or legal identity of a baby? For Christians to consider whether we would believe that baby might be hungry and deserve some money for their adult to buy food. We get to serve here, and we will serve. We don't have to parallel the anxieties of the world, that we are smarter than those in need, clever enough to not be taken advantage of, whatever that means. We don't means test or mirror the rebuke of our government to those forced into hunger. We get to meet stated need and be open to being changed by the encounter. The theologians Georg Reiger and Kwak Pulan call this, and the work like this, deep solidarity. The Christian work of noticing the material needs of others. Overwhelmingly, this is dignity and labor in their writing, labor that should give you all the tools for life. Deep solidarity teaches us that we are all harmed in systems that strip dignity from labor, by not making it possible to live with dignity from your labor, from your job, from work, to make a wage and afford a decent life, to protect those who are disabled or sick as our collective values. Solidarity means that we are caught up in one another. We are caught up together. In our diocese, that means when our smallest congregations and vulnerable communities struggle to keep the doors open, we are them. Struggle that the love of God be known among them. Struggle that God's grace and mercy be named for them in their place. And here too, when we in the biggest place work to steward these great stones on behalf of our diocese, we are in it together. Some with money, some with inspiration and imagination, some in service, some in witness. We build for the future together. The great William Sloane Coffin, who was over at Riverside's pulpit for a long time, said, "We all stand on someone else's bridge." The task of each generation is not only to cross safely, but to build strong bridges for those who follow. So we are a bridge, a shelter, a table. Solidarity might be the wrong term for what people feel towards us. I know it is the right word for what we are called to do for the most vulnerable among us, and we will. And maybe here it's just that we are in it together. We all contribute our share from the great resources left for us by past generations, from our privilege, from our labor, from our resourcefulness, and we work together for the common good, prioritizing needs together, living in common as a diocese, participating in its common life to express our solidarity in voice and song and prayer and work. In the gospel passage today, Jesus says to his followers that the world as they know it will end. The great temple where he is standing, many times the size of this magnificent place, if you can even imagine that, seemingly impervious to the times, like this place, even with our barrels out to catch water from a leaky roof, even after fires, we're still standing. It's not possible to imagine it lost, and they could not either. Solomon's glory is permanent as God's presence with them, today reduced to a highly politicized portion of what was once a retaining wall. All to dust, Jesus says, in signs and portents, plagues and war. Everything will fail around you, Jesus says. Even your family will debate where to stand in these times, and if it is with you, who to blame? Maybe it is the immigrant or the detained one. They must have done something wrong to deserve that attention. The protester, the clergy out at the jail, thrown to the ground, the trans folks targeted. Jesus says the brutality you will see is not the end. The Bible is one of the few historical books we have written by losers for losers, as this kind of passage about the end is the kind that drives us to solidarity. Because for whom could this be good news, the end of things as they are? Maybe for the one for whom the world as it is a tragedy every day, for the one in the line waiting for $100 and relying on our compassion, the one asking about baby ID, the one asking if a Medicare card could be enough to stay in our line, the one asking if they could get in both the $100 line and then the food pantry line, like the ones who followed Jesus waiting expectantly for lunch, the ones holding up the bridge that we all stand on, the one putting their money in the plate with pride sacrificially for their pledge and assessment around this diocese. We get to build bridges for them to bear witness and inspire and serve and build with them, that their stories are the stories of a better future, that their sacrifice is the altar at which we will know our God who comes to us as one of them, that our witness is for the healing of our city. For the losers, by the losers is probably not a great investment, if you frame it that way, but it is the witness of the Bible, that the stars will fall from the sky and King Jesus comes on a shabby colt, with eyes brimming with love for the least and the lost and the lonely, who he knows he will soon leave, that our God sees our melancholy and weakness, the perfect containers for grace and compassion and love. Like these warm quilts on our walls around us, made by men serving life sentences in Angola prison in Louisiana, literally hell on earth. quilts made to support a hospice they have created for their own in prison who are dying. God's work. I invite you to open your heart to God's offering to you today, endurance in the great struggle of our time, to maintain your humanity in these inhumane times, to love as you are loved, to endure. For by your endurance we are promised, you will gain your soul.